Hi, my name is Bettina Ami, and today I'm here with the president of Helix AI Medical Academy, Mr. Preston Castille. Mr. Preston, thank you for taking the time to sit here with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for taking the time to interview and talk to me.
Of course, I'm excited for this. I just learned this is the first school that's been built in Opelousas in 80 years or something like
Not
that.
80 years, but it's been almost 40 years, so it's quite extraordinary.
It's been a while. Okay. To start, I want to talk about your early education years. I know that you are valedictorian of your high school. And so what motivated you back then, and how will you use that motivation to lead and inspire your future students?
Yeah, well, thank you for the question. I had some amazing teachers. It really just comes down to that as it relates to my high school and early grade experiences. I graduated from Plaisance High School in 1985, and the teachers there were just phenomenal. And many of them I still keep in touch with, and it's been 40 years, but it has been just fantastic building upon the foundation that they built for me and allowed me to sort of pay it forward with what's about to happen tomorrow, and that is the ribbon cutting of Helix AI Medical Academy.
Yes. No, yeah, I was about to ask about that. I know people are getting ready for it. You're doing some last minute checkups. How excited are you? Because that means one step closer to actually having students in here and, teaching them and all that stuff.
Well, it's an amazing space. The idea of having a building that's a brand new building that we built from the ground up is extraordinary. And to have it come to life and having the district folks coming through, teachers, parents, community leaders about to walk in, but more importantly, students are about to walk through the threshold of the doors of this school and start learning, and that to me is really special.
Yes, and you talked about some special people that are coming here tomorrow. I know that some of the OSC staff is coming here tomorrow. I know it's right outside. It's right across the street, OSC, from there. Is there any plans for any collabs between the two, or are y'all keeping that separate?
Oh, it's more than you know, because we actually bought this land, the 17-acre tract of land that the school is now situated on, from Our Savior's Church. And they have been wonderful partners. One, just coming to the community. What Our Savior's Church has built here in Opelousas and in the Acadiana region is great for the community on so many different levels, but they touch people all across this parish and all across the region. And while there's no legal connection other than we purchased land, the idea of having a church, and a church of that reputation and esteem right next door to our school, Helix AI Medical Academy, right next door to Our Savior's Church's Opelousas campus, is great. It really, really is great.
Yes, no, it's amazing. And to get back to your education, so you graduated high school, then went to undergrad, and then you got your JD, and you practiced law for over 2 decades, am I right?
That's
and
right.
You even practiced, you served as judge pro tem. Is that correct?
Yeah.
For a short time?
I did. I was very honored to have been appointed by the Louisiana Supreme Court as a ad hoc judge and judge pro tem. And so that meant that I didn't get elected, but I was appointed by the Louisiana Supreme Court for a short time and served on the Baton Rouge City Court, which was an amazing experience in and of itself, because it really sort of shaped my thinking about some of the challenges that we face in the community, particularly with young people, and that we really need to catch young people at the earliest ages possible. So I did that a little over 10 years ago, and seeing where we are now, my thinking was that young people who were 18, 19, 20 years old who were getting caught up in the criminal system, if we could catch them when they're 4, 5, 6, and 7 years old, we have a better chance of preventing them from getting into crime, improving their quality of life overall. And so for me, I love my judicial experience. I love practicing law, but being in education, knowing that you can really shape people's lives when they're very young, is a special gift from God to me to be able to serve in this manner.
Yeah, and talk to me a little bit. Was there a moment in your head that made you want to transition from a legal career to one in education? Because they go together, but they're super different in practice. And so was there a specific moment?
Yeah, that really was a moment. There was a moment in time where I was in court, and I'm the judge. I've got a black robe on. I'm the most powerful person in the courtroom. And so as a judge, we would serve and have criminal dockets and civil dockets and all kinds of different types of courts where people would come to us. But one day I was serving on a criminal docket, and the public defender was there with his client. And his client, and I'll just make up a name and call him James. James came in court and had been charged with 2 counts of possession of marijuana. With possession of marijuana, those are considered to be enhanceable offenses, which meant that I, as the judge, had to do what's called boykinize him. Swear him in, make sure he understands that he's waiving certain rights. When I did that, I had to ask James some questions. And James was this good-looking black man, young man, maybe 23 years old, about 6'4", looked like he just walked off the cover of GQ magazine. Great-looking guy. But I had to ask him some questions because he was about to plead guilty to these 2 very important crimes that could have him end up in jail for a very, very long time if he committed another crime. So I asked him, I said, James, do you have a job? And James, 23 years old, said, no, I don't have a job. I said, do you have children? He said, yeah, I have 3 children. James is 23 years old. Wow. 3 children. I said, James, what's your level of education? And James said, well, I stopped going to school in the 8th grade. And I said, oh, wow, 8th grade. That said to me that James, his level of education was probably like 4th or 5th grade. So I now had James, who was unmarried, 3 children, good-looking guy, probably going to have more children, no job skills. And he was standing before me, essentially about to plead guilty to crimes for which he was perhaps going to lose his entire future over. And I learned from his legal counsel, who was a good friend of mine, who was public defender. He said, I asked James, I said, well, James, if you finished in the 8th grade, what school did you finish from? And he said, Prescott Middle School. I said, Prescott Middle School. And then the public defender, who's a friend of mine, said, oh, that's a school that you had worked with, Judge. And I said, yeah, that's also a school that you worked with some time ago. So there we were, Judge, public defender, and James, who basically was saying that I went through the education system and it failed me. And I don't have any skills. I don't have a way of taking care of myself. And now I stand before you, Judge, in judgment for you to either put me in jail or do whatever. And I felt so helpless. There I was, Judge, black robe, most powerful guy in the courtroom. And there was very little I could do to help James because my job as the judge was simply to sentence him after he confessed his crimes. And to me, I felt, although powerful, extremely helpless. And for me, I said, I've got to find a way to reach people before they end up in my courtroom. Can I reach them younger? And that was sort of that epiphany, that point of inflection where I needed to change my course in life in terms of how I serve our community.
Yeah, no, that's a really good story. That's really heavy. And you talk about the education system, and you've been a part of it your whole life as a student. You were a teacher at one point, and you serve as legal advocates and stuff like that. And so what about the system keeps drawing you in and keeps you coming back?
Well, as you say teacher, I was a law professor and still am. Taught at LSU for 8 years and Southern University's Law Center for 22 years. And when I see young people like you and they come into my classroom, the idea that I can help shape and mold their thinking is one thing. But the other is that when young people come into my classroom, I generally can tell whether or not they're going to be a good law student almost within a couple of weeks. And I can tell that based on their literacy skills. But those literacy skills that they develop, they don't develop those in law school. Right. They learn them long before. They learn them, and maybe not in college, but in high school, in middle school, in elementary school, in pre-K. Right. So if you can build that foundation, whatever career path students decide, whether they go to law school or medical school or whatever it is that they will do, if they get those strong skills very early, then their success is much more assured. And so that experience as a law professor helped inform my thinking that, wow, at the professional school level, I can make a difference, but boy, I can make an even greater difference if I started at the pre-K through 12th grade level.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you're president and CEO, correct me if I'm wrong,
That's
you're
right.
president and CEO of what is called Helix Community Schools, which is a network of different Helix schools in South Louisiana. Talk to me a little bit about those different schools and how you feel like, what made you want to start those, and how you feel like you're making a difference in them.
So a little secret. So while I practiced law and was a lawyer for a long time, I'm a bit of a science nerd.
Wow.
When I was in school here in St. Landry Parish, from 2nd grade through 12th grade, everybody knew that Preston Castille wanted to become a doctor. Loved science, entered in all of the science competitions, and that was my passion. But then at some point in college, I decided I wanted to go to law school, but I was always still passionate about science. And so when this opportunity came along to lead Helix, with Helix having a focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, I thought, how cool. I can marry my passion with work. How phenomenal it would be to have an opportunity to do that. And so being able to work with Helix that focuses on a number of different STEM careers. We have Helix Aviation Academy in Baton Rouge. One of our campuses is actually on the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport. We have a 10,000 square foot hangar. Aircraft literally taxi in and out of our school in the hangar. So I have a school where actually airplanes and jets pull into the back door of your school.
Yeah, that's
doesn't
amazing,
happen in
right?
many places in the country. And then we have Helix Mentorship and Maritime Academy, and that school, of course, focuses on maritime, and so there's obviously a connection between aviation and the maritime industry, boats and airplanes. And then we have 2 schools in Baker, Baker High School and Park Ridge Achievement Academy, a K-12 set of schools that's focused on fintech and performing arts. And of course, we also have a school, Helix Legal Academy, and you can probably imagine why we have a Helix Legal Academy. But that school is going to merge with mentorship so that we can create a K-12. We want all of our schools to be pre-K through 12. And the reason is, and I'll tell you, the inspiration is Plaisance High School, where I graduated from, which was kindergarten through 12. Being able to get kids early on from kindergarten and educate them all the way through creates this sort of level of continuity and education that makes it a special place culturally, and students tend to perform well when they stay in a close-knit, nurturing environment that they can stay in one place as much as possible. And so all of our schools, we've designed them to become kindergarten through 12th grade. And even this school, Helix AI Medical Academy, it's going to start off as an elementary school, and then we'll add middle school and high school.
Yeah, that's all amazing. I can't, you're telling me this and I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing. And at OSC, like we were talking about before, we talk a lot about legacy and what you want to be remembered for when you're gone. And so from your mouth, what do you want your legacy to be, both in education and in law?
Well, along the way, when I was growing up, a lot of people had a hand in raising me. I had parents, of course, but then I had my church family, I had my school family with teachers, and everybody somewhere along the way helped to guide my path and help me develop the tools to be successful. And so I believe it's my moral obligation to pay it forward. So many people blessed me that it is my responsibility to help others develop the tools to be successful. And if I can build on what they poured into me by helping to pour into others and enable an entire network of teachers, wonderful teachers and support staff to help children, the more we touch, the greater impact we will have on more people throughout the community and hopefully throughout the world.
Yeah, and you're not just helping students out here. Like you said, you're making jobs in Opelousas, you're giving teachers jobs and stuff like that. And so why did you choose Opelousas to put this school in? Because I know Louisiana doesn't necessarily have, the best education in the United States. So why did you choose Southern Louisiana and specifically Opelousas to put this Helix AI Medical Academy in?
Well, Opelousas is my home. I was born in the city. I grew up in the city. I graduated from high school in this parish. It is a part of me, and it is frankly a privilege to be able to come back and serve in this way. I never imagined that I would be given this opportunity. I always hoped that I would be given an opportunity to serve and give back to the community that gave so much to me. So when Helix was asked to come to St. Landry Parish and consider investing in the community in this way, I thought, what a wonderful idea. And we didn't know quite how we would make that happen, but with the help of Our Savior's Church, the philanthropic community, nonprofits, local government, state government, everyone coming together. If ever there was a good recipe for a Louisiana gumbo, it's right here because so many people put different ingredients into what's made us successful. And I'm incredibly proud of the community effort because some people will interview and talk to me and they say, "Oh, Preston Castille." I'm like, I just happen to be one of the members of this very important team that's called our community. And the fact that our community has come together and rallied around an educational institution is something that I'm just simply proud to be a part of.
Yeah, and doing this is not only amazing, but you're doing it as a Black man in the United States right now. So talk to me a little bit about what that means to you to succeed as a Black man.
To me, what it means is that this is a really great country. Some people might say, what do you mean by that with all of the chaos that's going on? The notion that a kid that grew up in Opelousas, in the projects, on the hill, people from here will know what that means, on the hill, in a community that was very unforgiving, with parents who were divorced and grew up on welfare and food stamps, and never would someone imagine that a kid growing up in that environment, Black, white, brown, whatever, could be successful. But the fact that because of education, because of the way we come together as a community, as a state, and as a country, that anything is possible, irrespective of your race. It's not going to be easy. There's no doubt about that. But the fact that it's possible, to me, is extremely special. And what I hope for me is that my little story, little me, that will inspire people that there is greatness in this country and that everybody who lives here, this is our country. And we should find ways to ensure that is successful. If we don't like something, then we should work to change it, make it better, improve it. But this is our country, Black, white, or whatever. And that's what makes America a great country. And it's been a great country for a long, long time, with all its blemishes, all of its wars, all of its problems, and all of its challenges. But at the end of the day, it's ours. And it's ours to make good, great, or frankly, not so great. Just it's up to us. And everybody has an individual responsibility to make that happen.
Yes. And again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day. I'm sure you're very busy. To end this off, we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So just say whatever comes to your mind. Okay. What was your favorite school subject growing up?
Chemistry.
Oh, yes, you said science. Okay, question. There is a stereotype that lawyers aren't good at math, and you didn't mention math at all. Is that true?
Not true. Math was one of my best subjects.
Really?
I scored the highest on the ACT in math. I loved math. I said chemistry because chemistry is science and math sort of combined together.
Right.
But I loved math. I took 2 courses of calculus when I was in undergrad, and probably had enough hours after I switched from pre-med biology to economics, which is what I ultimately graduated in, and then took business math. So I took a lot of math and always enjoyed it. So some lawyers are actually good at math.
Okay. What is a book that you think every student should read?
I just gave a talk on Carter G. Woodson's. He's got 2 books. And one is The Education of the Negro, and the other is the miseducation of the Negro. The miseducation book that Carter G. Woodson talks about is, I think, really important because while the focus is on Black Americans, it really is applicable to all people because your ability to train someone in the way they think through the education system can reshape a civilization. And that's an incredibly powerful tool, and it can be used to create wonderful societies. It can be used for evil and harm, but it is a stark reminder of what the education system means, and to be able to control that education system and influence it is incredibly important, and it's something that people should always pay close attention to because it impacts people's lives individually, as well as communities, states, and countries, and frankly, the entire planet.
Yeah, no, I'll have to get that a check. But okay, which one would you rather, LSU, Southern, or Tulane? If you had to pick.
Southern is my undergraduate alma mater.
Okay.
I worked at LSU for 8 years, and for that I'm grateful. I went to law school at Tulane, and for that I'm extremely grateful. But my undergraduate alma mater, I was student body president. I was national president of the Alumni Federation, and it helped me see the world in ways that I would not have expected. It was a great next step from my high school experience.
Hey, and they're the Jags, right?
Absolutely, they are the Jags.
Okay. Gumbo or etouffee?
Oh, gumbo.
Gumbo.
But it's close, gumbo.
Right, they're both good, huh? Okay, what is your dream summer vacation?
Dream summer vacation. Oh, that really is a good one. I guess it would be a summer vacation that would not be a week or two, but it would be like a 2-month vacation.
Wow, yeah.
Where I got to travel like all through Europe and Africa and got to compare all the different societies. I love Europe because it's small and compact and you can go to different countries within a short period of time because it's kind of like states. But then there's the vastness of the African continent, and if it were a dream summer vacation, your question, it would be I could do all of those things over the course of 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of traveling.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
Okay, and lastly, if you weren't in law or education, what would you be doing?
I'd be a medical doctor. I would be a medical doctor. So I would often say that over the years, not so much the last 5 years, but often through my career, I would say if I won the lottery, I would go to medical school. And people would say, you would do what? But that's what I would do.
A doctor.
Yeah.
What kind of doctor do you know?
I would probably be a surgeon of some type, perhaps orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, wow.
But it would be surgery. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds super cool. Thank you again.